Um, Welcome to our chat of today. Sorry I was a little bit delayed because my streaming client decided to update itself and it took some time. So this topic is based on a tweet that my very good colleague Ella posted, and I actually want to share her tweet with you guys. She does like this amazing work on remote work and teleworking. You should definitely follow her. So there you go. Okay, so Ella yesterday posted this super funny tweet where she says PhDs discovering actor network theory, and you see the ducks, they go out and they realize it's cold, or they realize that actor network theory is pretty scary, and they get back. Okay, and so the idea is that sometimes you can have like great data. You may have done like great data analysis. It's just amazing, and then you sort of like say, okay, this is a paper, let's say, about control, right? And then your paper is rejected, not because of the data and so on, but because it is about control. Okay, there are topics and there are frameworks that are extremely difficult to publish on, and there are others where it is easier or easy to publish on because they're more fashionable, let's say. Okay, and I, for example, invite you to, if you're in the management field, even if you're not, you can do it anyway. I'll prove my point, which is just go to the top 5 journals in management. So go to Org Science, Academy of Management Journal, Academy of Management Review, and Administrative Science Quarterly, for example. Go to those 4, Journal of Management Studies if you want, and look for the word control. And basically you'll find that there are very, very few papers published in the past few years on the topic of control. And that is because in American journals typically are not super open to research on control. I remember that when I did this exercise myself, there was this special issue on Administrative Science Quarterly in 1998 on control, and all of the papers was like insane, like literally 10-year ethnographies on the top 5 accounting firms. The paper written by some of the leading authors on control, Hugh and Wilmot, for example. This is stuff that you just cannot find, and that means that if you submit a paper, or even if you write a thesis on one of these killer literatures, I would say killer in the bad sense that they kill your paper, not killer that they're good, then you really increase the chances for your paper to get rejected. I've seen 2 papers that like really impressed me. I'm not going to name the authors, but I will discuss the paper on this. So first paper is an Administrative Science Quarterly piece published in the 90s by an extremely senior author who was extremely senior at the time already, from one of the top 5 American universities. So the paper was about, and I saw I met this person and they showed me the manuscript of the first submission. The first submission was about failure and the explanation of failure in specific types of organizational ventures. The final paper is about success of specific types of ventures. Now, as you can imagine, doing the entire analytical work for a paper about success is very different from doing it for a paper about failure, right? So this means this was a qualitative piece. This means basically starting your analysis from scratch, okay, for the paper. And this paper is now a classic in strategy research. Also saw another paper by somebody in top 3 research university in the United States. This person's paper actually was about control when I first saw it. When it was submitted, it was about identity, because there are many papers about identity, very few papers on control. I was fortunate to find this in the third year of my PhD. So I was actually going to write a thesis on control, and then I realized that I would just basically be climbing a hill. There's actually a paper, an ISJ piece that I published on control, which I actually wrote in the second year of my PhD, 2002, and it was published in 2015. And the reason it took so long, it wasn't like, I submitted once, but then I realized I'm never going to publish this because this is on control. So I basically just waited for a special issue on ISJ on the dark side of IT, and special issues on dark sides are happy to take on research on control, and so I submitted the paper. It was, just standing in my drawer for 10, 12 years until the special issue call came out. Okay, so really be careful with this. My advice, I'm working on a paper with a co-author, and I just did this week, which is I went to through the top 5 journals in my field, and I searched for specific keywords: boundaries, knowledge, identity, value, liminality, consultants. This is the consultant paper that I was telling you about a couple of days ago. Okay, and I looked and saw, okay, like how many papers are there about this topic? If there is no paper or like one paper about your topic, then you may want to change framing. Now the same thing happens with frameworks. And actor network theory is a framework, and I would say that at least for a PhD student, because if you see Ella's the replies to Ella's tweet, I was not the only one seduced by actor network theory. It's a very interesting framework. It's basically a framework that says that material artifacts have agency as much as humans, and it's based on Latour's work, and Latour is a great writer. I will tell you what was the thing with me for actor network theory, where there was a practical thing and a theoretical thing. The practical thing is that I was in the middle of my ethnography field work, and I was just taking pictures and collecting all of these material artifacts, and I just could not find a way of empirically documenting artifact agency. And I'm trained in Europe. I enjoy these grand theories. If you read my articles carefully, you'll see them between the lines there. So I enjoy this, and I really understood actor network theory. But and then at the time, my advisor Wanda Orkowski, she was working on social materiality, which in its initial statements were built around actor network theory, and Wanda herself said that the problem with these studies is that they are empirically it's like how you collect data on artifact agency. And if you see the research that Wanda has done since then, first, actor network theory is not there as much, and the second thing is that like the two big studies that I've seen are the TripAdvisor study and a more recent ISBN study, where the artifact really has overwhelming agency, right? So these are basically studies about an artifact. So again, TripAdvisor as a technological artifact, and the ISBN as technological artifact too. But it's not ethnographic fieldwork in the sense that you're watching people and objects interact, right? It's super. I really don't know how to bring the agency of artifacts into data collection. Right? Then there was also the theoretical part where I think it was a book from Calon, who is one of the proponents of actor network theory, a big fish in actor network theory, where he says that basically actor network theory is like impractical. I'm like, okay, so if you're like one of the parents of actor network theory and you say it's impractical, me, poor little PhD student, forget about it. So I moved on. I continue to think about the role of artifacts in my observations. I do have plenty of data, and I actually, in one of my MSQ pieces, I do theorize around an artifact which I call the system of transfiguration, and I do have this means of introducing artifacts into data, which are these practice artifact chains, but the agency that I attribute to artifacts is, falls way behind the agency that actor network theory should have. Now, to wrap us up, I do want to say one thing, which is, but you'll tell me, well, but Werner Lorkowski did publish on with actor network theory, and this other person, yes, they did, but if you met Vanda, she's top 0.01% in intellectual ability. So we go back to the, can you publish a top journal if you're not a genius piece? Okay, if you're a genius, can you publish a piece on control and actor network theory? Maybe, I'm not sure, because the two pieces that I told you about where the authors had to change the theory of their paper, these were geniuses. So I'm not sure, but yes, they can. But it's like quitting university to start your own business. Works for Bill Gates and Steve Jobs. It doesn't mean it will work for for the average human being. So be super mindful of this, and do a search on keywords, on journals, and if the topic is not there or just comes up in one or two pieces written by geniuses that are wonderful papers, maybe think about reframing, because, and I'll close with this, right? Because when you submit to a journal, what you want to do is, the way I see it is, people in the journal, in the papers, are having a conversation. What you want to do is, you want to join that conversation in a useful way, right? You want to say something that people want to listen to, and they think, well, that's interesting, right? So I'm very happy to be at an Academy of Management meeting and speak about my love for Lotus cars, and I can speak for an hour about Lotus cars, and I can speak in a very nice and fascinating way about Lotus cars, but I don't think people will be very interested, right? So yeah, now, final point, and then I'll say goodbye for sure, which is the difference between European and American journals. Now, European journals, just because of the European intellectual tradition, they are more open to topics that American journals are not. So, for example, I don't think you'll struggle a lot to publish on control in organizational studies. You still have to do a very good job with the paper, but control won't disqualify your paper from publication. MJ, not so sure. Keep this in mind, and best of luck for your papers. just want to tell you a little bit about what we're doing this weekend. So actually I had a request from one viewer, thank you, Emanuele, who asked if I could just show how I do qualitative data analysis using NVivo. And I'm actually going to do that for the paper that I just got a revised resubmit from MS Quarterly this past month, and which I discussed on the past weekend when I told you about my structure to write papers for top journals. Okay, so it'll be Saturday at 2 as usual. Just want to say then thank you very much for watching. If you're watching this on YouTube, don't forget to like if you like the video. Drop a comment if you want to share your experiences or if you have ideas for future videos. And always happy to answer questions, look at papers, and so on. Have a great one, everybody. Bye bye.